Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back. I missed you all last week. Oh my gosh, I was having technical difficulties. Can you imagine? I'm hitting the buttons, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons, and I couldn't get on last week. So please, can you forgive me? But we are here this week. And you know what? You know what I believe? I believe that there are no mistakes. Not really. I think we were actually supposed to give this message today. All right. Thank you for being here. This is Money Answers All Things. Listen, I enjoy being with Living Manna and Power of the Lamb Ministries. We have had a very, very good time, and we're going to get into something that some people may push back against because they think it has a negative connotation. But I'm telling you, it is the key. What we're actually going to be talking about, and Patrice, listen, I know you're there, but what we're actually going to be talking about is the key to handling your finances and building wealth and eliminating debt. We are going to this is the very first stop on this train. I'm telling you, you've got to hear this part. All right. So let's pray and let's get into it. Heavenly Father, we thank you for every single person that is here live with us today, and every person that will hear the replay. Bless them financially. Bless us all that we will do your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have listen. Listen. I want to say hi. Good evening to everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. All right. So let's get our hellos out there, and I want to make sure that I can. And I guess I can't chat. Can I chat? I thought I could.
Don, while you're looking at the chat, you should be there. Everybody, as you're watching live, hi, it's Patrice. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here tonight on Money Answers All Things. And guess what? You are a pivotal part of the success of this program. For those of you who copy and share this link to friends, family, and even frenemies, we don't call them enemies, we call them frenemies. And we want to make sure people get the information, this vital financial information for financial freedom and financial health. And so we want to make sure we get this program out there. So please copy and share this link, and we will continue with the program. I want to say a good evening to M. Bolin, right there saying good evening to you, Don. And James Okilo is also saying evening with a nice smiling face. Janet Fairfall is also saying good evening, as well as the mountains and the sea. I love that. The mountains and the sea is saying, hey, how are you? How are you? So please make sure you guys share this link. We're going to be in for a great financial ride tonight. So I'm looking forward to the information as well.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait to get into this thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, here, Sharon M. Jones says, good evening. Hello, Sharon. And I see M. Bolin. And I listen to everyone. Good evening. Let's get into it. Do I see Elder Wayne Hewlett in here this morning? This evening? Oh my goodness. Elder Wayne Hewlett is here. All right, Pastor Hewlett, it is good to see you in here. I hope you brought some of your members. Good evening, everybody. Listen, I'm going to be able to chat with you as well. I'm so glad that you're here. Here's what you need to know. This is the foundation of all good financial decisions, is to know how much money you're making and how much money you're spending. Now, that may not seem earth shattering to you, But I've been doing what I've been doing for 18 years here at the Pill Method, helping people to understand how an amortization schedule actually works, how they can cut their interest costs by 75%, how we can pay off all of our debt. I mean, that's the mortgage, the student loans, the credit cards, the car loans, everything in about 7 years instead of 30 years to never. I've been doing this for a very long time. And the one thing that I found out that most people that we talk to don't even know how much money they make. Can you believe that? I want you to think about it right now. Tell me, I want you to write down on a piece of paper right now without looking, how much money do you make? Do you know most of you won't be able to do that? You have to go to your bank statement because we don't even look at our check stubs anymore. We just look to see if our deposits hit the bank. Now you tell me, listen, if that's true for you, you may not want to. Okay, let me say, if you know it's true for somebody, put a number 7 in the chat. If you know that's true for somebody, that they don't even know how much money they make. All right, put a number 7 in the chat if you know that to be true. All right, I'm telling you. And not only that, but if we don't know how much money we make, guess what else we don't know? We don't even know how much money we're spending during the month. We have no idea. What is the average amount that we spend during the month? If you know how much you're spending, listen, if you don't know how much you're spending in a month, how much is your average spend to take care of all of your bills, okay? I need you now to put a number 8 in the chat if you don't know how much you're spending in a month. Put a number 8 in the chat. Go ahead. I'm looking. I'm looking for that. Number 8 while I take a drink of water. Okay? So here is what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, that I even work with accountants who do a very good job helping other people with their money. And the accountants that I work with don't even know how much money they make or how much money they're spending. Isn't that something? People who work with other people who help them in a significant way handle their finances, they don't even know how much money they make. That is just something about this. And let me tell you can I tell you where I believe that comes from? I'm gonna tell you where I believe it comes from. Okay, but I'm gonna put something. I'm gonna put something on the screen. Don't put it up there yet. All right, because I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm gonna do it now. Hold on for a second. Hold on. I'm typing something in. All right, and I'm bringing this up on my screen. Boom, there it is. We got to make that bigger. How do I make it bigger? Nope, I can't use that one. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. All right, let's go. Let me see here. I don't want to use that. Let's use this one. I think this one's bigger. I had this one up the other day. Okay, there it is. Okay, we can show this now. I want you to see this, ladies and gentlemen. This is a check register. Do you remember your first checking account? Okay, when you wrote a check to pay a bill or to buy groceries or to buy gas, you wrote a check. And what was the first thing you did when you wrote that check? You logged that check and you subtracted from your balance, all right, that check, and you knew how much money you had and you knew how much money you were spending. Do you know that slowly but surely electronic banking has come in? And do you know that it is a major source of income for banks to charge you 35 and 40 bucks every time you overdraw your account? And then one of the major reasons is that we've gotten rid of check registers. All right. If you still use a check register, put a number one in the chat. Put a number one in the chat if you still use a check register. And I want to see if we get anybody that actually uses a check register anymore. And I'm telling you, listen, email and text messaging have taken the place of the check register, meaning when your balance on your checking account gets too low, you'll get an email or a text or both that it fell below the threshold that you set and you need to put more money in that account. Okay, that's what's taking place. Now, when that happens, we have no idea how much money we're spending. We just know that our account is too low and we're tired of paying those fees. So we use the email, we use the text messaging system from our bank to make sure we don't pay fees. But that system doesn't help us to know how much money we are spending or making during the month. There you go. There you have it. Now, I'm going to be talking about managing your finances to the point where you will know how much money you're making and you will know how much money you're spending. And we're going to view budgeting from the standpoint of tracking your money. We're going to track it. No one, I promise you, no one's going to be here. No one's going to tell you you can't buy something or you can't do something with your own money. But you really do need to track it. If you do nothing but get a notebook, write down how much money you're making from your last deposit, and then start subtracting, well, about how much do we spend for food, about how much do we spend for um, electricity and gasoline and cable and cell phone. I'm telling you something, what you will find out, it's almost like magic. I'm telling you. If you feel right now, I'm looking straight at you in the camera. I'm looking straight at you. If you feel as if you're living paycheck to paycheck, most of you are really in a lot better position than you think. In fact, if you do this one thing for me, just do this. Put down how much you make and write down how much you're actually spending during the month just to pay your bills. To pay the bills now. Okay? Tithe and offering, paying the rest of the bills, putting the and this week and this month, just put the minimum amount on the debt. I'm going to tell you why we're going to do that. Put the minimum amount on your debt. Okay, there's a reason for that, so you can actually know what your true spending is, and just pay the bills. Now, you may want to add in right under tithe and offering how much you want to spend on your family, just to create some memories and to have some fun. You got to have that in there. When you do that, you will be surprised how much money is actually left over because you're tracking everything you're spending. I mean, every time you go to the store to buy groceries, to buy gasoline, whatever it is that you're buying, you're going to log it and subtract it from what you make. And you will be surprised how much money is going to be left over. Can I tell you a little story? Because one of the questions that we ask here at the Pill Method is we ask our potential clients, how much money do you have left over after all the bills are paid? I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, what if you don't have anything left over? All right. Then we ask a few questions. Question number one, when I hear that, do you make enough? Can you pay all of your bills each month from your income? And guess what? I get an answer I get yes. And then I ask, do you ever have to dip into your savings to pay your bills because you don't have enough money? And I said, no, I never have to do that. Do you have to ever use a credit card to pay your bills when you don't have if you don't have enough, you're not making enough money? No, no, no. The answer is no. So listen, folks, I don't know anybody that if they're making $6,000 a month, they spend exactly $6,000 a month on the bills. I don't know anybody that does that. So when people tell me they don't have any money left over, what they're really saying is, Don, we're not tracking our spending. So I had this lady who told me that. She says, what if I don't have any money left over? So we sent her a budget sheet. You know, it's just the idea of what you're spending each month. So we sent that out, and she was supposed to get that back to me. It took her a long time to get it back to me. When we finally got it back, I said, oh, look, this looks good. She says, I said, well, why did it take you so long to get it back to me? This is good news. She said, because I had to do it 3 times. I had to do it 3 times. So, well, why did you have to do your budget 3 times? She said, because each time I did it, it showed that I had $2,000 left over after I paid the bills. $2,000 left over after paying the bills. She didn't know where her money was going. $2,000. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that there is an enemy out there that doesn't want you to learn how to manage your money. Because if you're not managing your money, guess what? Then you won't be able to give what you could give to build up the cause of Christ and to tell a dying world there's a God that loves them. I'm telling you, that's a powerful message. There's a God that loves you, and you can contribute to that because you are managing your money well. Oh, please. So, if we can track our income and our outgo, you will be surprised at how much money will be left over. And then guess what? You can start putting some more money away for certain other things that you would like to do. Support, give more to your local church. Support submissions. There's a lot of things you could do. Good evening, Norma Jean. Good evening, Jerry Russell. Good evening, Strategic Secrets and Andrea Archer. Good evening, good evening, good evening, Cheryl Jackson. Good evening to you all. Okay, so listen. Here we go. Let me share this with you. Once you know how much money is in your discretionary fund, how much money is your discretionary spending, that means after you have received your money, tithe and offering, put some money in long-term savings. All right, that usually comes out before you get your money, that money hits the bank, though. But these are the things that you're paying for out of your paycheck: tithe and offering, long-term savings. You pay at least now you have to pay yourself some money so that you and your family can have some fun. All right. So here at the Pill Method, we don't believe that you should, if you have debt, live your life like this. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything. Drive a 30-year-old car. Eat beans and rice 7 days a week. Cut up your credit cards, and sell pizzas at night to make some extra money so you can pay off your debt. We don't believe that. We believe you can live well. You can live well if you just track your spending and figure out how much money is left over after the bills are paid. And then we can show you how to optimize the use of that money to kill interest on your loans so that you can get out of debt in about 7 years, as opposed to 30 years to never, because we're going to show you how. Okay. I promised this week I would show you the opportunity cost calculator, uh, our um, our cloud-based AI computing system that does all of this for us. But there's some things that you need to understand first. Okay. Now, if you have some questions for me, start putting them in the chat. Okay. Start putting them in the chat now if you have some questions for me. All right. And then we'll be able. Patrice is going to help me to field those questions. So here's what we need to. Here's where we're going to start. If you know how much money you have left over, and if you watch some of our other videos, you also know how little money it takes to eliminate a lot of interest. How little money it takes to eliminate a lot of interest. We're also going to talk about how to optimize your spending, how to optimize debt elimination, how to optimize your finances. What do I mean by optimize? You want every single dollar that comes through your hands and through your bank account to do its absolute most it can do, to buy the most. You want your dollar working as hard as it possibly can to do what it needs to do. So here's what I mean. Here's what I mean when it comes to my dollar working as hard as it can. When I go to Kroger, did anybody ever get the 10 for 10 at Kroger? Man, I'm telling you, my dollar is working hard when I get that 10 for 10. How many like when they go to Publix and they can get, um, their whatever item they're getting when it's 2 for 1? Now your dollar is working harder. How many use Gas Buddy to figure out, because I use Gas Buddy, to figure out what, on my way home, my favorite gas stations, which one is selling gas for the least amount of money? I use Gas Buddy to help me out there. I want my dollar working hard for me. I want to be able to do more with every single dollar. That's what optimization will do for you. So it's not just enough to count your money. You want to get the very best deal you can. Does that make sense? Okay. So somebody says, I need you to please help me budget. I okay, listen. I we can help you. All right. Let's put let's put this on the screen right now. Um, the ice10k.com. I'm sorry, put it in the chat. We're going to put that in the chat. Ice10k.com. That is my um, my digital business card. Okay, my digital business card. So um, so whoever that is that Saucy Cooper? Okay. So listen, ice10k.com. That's our digital business card. You'll be able to find our number, call the office, and I'll even give you the number. Okay. I'll give you the number. It is 256 886 1867. 256 886 1867. Call that number, tell the receptionist you would like our help with something, okay? And we'll see what we can do. There it is, 256 886 1867. And we'll be glad to help as much as we possibly can. And Tyra Payne says, is this live? Yes, it's live right now. All right. So when you put your question in, Tyra, all right, this is live. Put your question in. We'll get to it. Okay. Excellent. Now, Norma Jean, what is so? I see some questions coming in. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. I see some questions coming in. What do we have so far? Um, with tithes at 10% with debt, do you believe should be? Um, okay, I think you're asking with tithe and the debt. What about the offering? Can I share something with you, Norma Jean? And I mean this with all of my heart. We live in the universe that God has created. And in that universe, there are natural laws that cannot be broken. Now, I think the way that we approach these things may be a little lighthearted, but it is still true. As sure as I'm sitting here, how many have sung that song, You Can't Beat God Giving, no matter how hard you try? Now, it's a nice song, but it is definitely true. In this universe that God has put together, I really do believe that it is important to learn how to give and to receive. It is a cycle that cannot be broken. Giving and receiving. You know how it's said that it's better to give than to receive? Listen, folks, you can't give unless you're open to receiving. All right. How many have read the book Counsels on Stewardship? I'm telling you, do you know that if you look at that book, and I really like that book, I have mine all marked up. When you look at that book and you start getting into that book, you'll find out that tithing is mentioned in the third section of that book. Tithing is mentioned in the third section, not the first, not the second, but the third section. What are the first two sections talking about, and where are they leading us? How to partner with Jesus so you'll have something to tithe. Oh, have mercy. When I discovered that, my head practically exploded. You mean to tell me that God is putting together a system where He gives to me first so that I can participate in His system of giving so He can give it back to me again and give more? What? Gives to me so that I can participate in this law of giving and receiving so I can give more. So here's what I'm saying. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot afford it. I cannot afford not to give an offering. Have mercy. I can't even sit in my seat still. I can't afford not to give an offering. Because here's what I need for everybody to understand. When you start thinking about money, if I ask these questions in Sabbath school, I will get the right answer every time. The right answer every time. I can do all things through, I can almost hear you. I can almost hear you. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Listen, let me tell you something. That when we are looking in the Bible, and we see certain texts in there about giving and receiving. Do you really believe that God will supply some of our needs, most of our needs? God will supply all of our needs? How much stuff does God own? All the cattle on 1,000 hills. He even owns the hills. He owns that too. Okay. Where do I look to get my help? Where does my help come from? Okay. So when I need something, ladies and gentlemen, when I need something, let me ask you, let me ask it this way. Okay. I'm looking straight into the camera again. Let me ask it this way. How much does God own? How much does he own? How it does is God a source, an endless supply? Will God ever run out of resources? How much does he love his people? So I'm trying to tell you something, that the devil is a liar, and a liar from the beginning. When you look in your bank account and you see zeros, I'm trying to tell you that's a lie, because you're focused on the bank account and not on the God that fills the bank account. When you look into your wallet and you see nothing in the wallet, you're focused on the empty space in the wallet and not the God that puts money in that space. When you understand the universe that you live in, I guarantee you, when you understand it, you're living in a world that is not hostile towards you. God's universe is not hostile towards his people. And there is nothing, no good thing will he withhold from you. No good thing. Listen, you can start pulling out those texts out of the Bible, one after another, one after another, one after another. And I need you to understand that God will supply. And he wants us to have the desires of our heart. He wants us to be to 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 be in good health. He wants us listen. I sometimes I can't even find the words to help people to understand that our first thought, when it comes to our finances, when it comes to our needs, our first thought should not be what we don't have, because that is a scarcity mindset. What am I as a Christian doing with a scarcity mindset when I have a God that supplies all the needs, the God that supplies all my needs? You see, when as a person thinks in their heart, so is he. And here's the thing, why this is why we should be careful about the words that we speak, because life and death is in the tongue. If I think broke, do you know I am broke? Okay. If I think broke, I am broke. Listen, I refuse to think that way. If I need something, I'm going to give it to God, and I'm not going to worry about it. And it's going to happen. Do you know that there are times when the bank account, because I'm in business, and sometimes business is great and sometimes business is not great. Okay. Not like I would like it. And sometimes the bank account starts to go like this. All right. Okay. But when the bank account starts to go like this, do you know? I know it's going to get filled up again. I absolutely know that it is. How's it going to get done? I don't know. I don't know how. I just know that it will. I know this is a long answer to this question, but I think it's important for us to know, if we're going to be talking about what we're going to be talking about here in the next few minutes, we've got to know where our help comes from. We got to know where the resources come from. We've got to know that we serve a God that supplies our needs if we follow his program. And do you know the rain falls on the just and the unjust? There are people who are unjust, who are following some of the principles God has put in place, And just because they're unjust does not mean that God will suspend that law. Mercy. If we practice what God has told us, you will benefit from it. How do I know? Well, look at, there are definitely people who are wealthy that don't serve God. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to try to ascertain who they are or how to identify them. I'm not trying to do that right now. I just need you to know there are people who are wealthy, who are who tithe, who don't go to church, but they know the power of giving, and they get the benefits of it. So if people who don't even serve God know the benefit of giving because they experience giving and receiving, and they tell others they should do the same, even if they're not, these people aren't even serving God, but they know the benefit of giving and receiving. So all I'm saying here, ladies and gentlemen, is we don't have to worry about giving a tithe and offering, because I'm getting ready to ask this one question and then I'm going to leave it alone. How much would you give if you knew your supply was endless? Think about it. Okay? There we go. All right. So let's get back, let's get back into this thing. Let's get back into this thing. So we've been here 36 minutes, 37 minutes. Okay. And we talked about, let me talk to you about what we need to do to optimize our finances, because there are so many choices to make. With so many choices to make, we have to be able to make the right choices at the right time. Let me give you an idea. So I'm going to put something on the my screen right now. Now, some of you are mathematicians, and you may know about factorial math. Factorial math. And so when with factorial math, I can figure out how many choices or how many permutations I have if I have a certain set of things. So if I have 5 choices to make, all right, I've got 5 choices. I've got five things here, and I want to be able to align these 5 things in the right order so that they will benefit me the most. Let's put this on the screen. If so, here's how you figure 5 factorial. Go to Google and put a 5 and an exclamation point in there, and then click and then click enter. You'll get 120. 120. If you have 5 variables, there are 120 different ways to arrange these variables, and one of them is optimum. One of the arrangements out of 120 is optimum. Do you want to try to figure out which one out of 120 is going to be the best way to do something? So what we do is that we come up with a rule of thumb or a heuristic to try to figure out how we can make some decisions without doing a lot of research into it. Okay? So, how do we figure 5 factorial? It's so you go 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. I'll do that again. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 will give you 120. Now, when it comes to your debt, when it comes to managing your funds, there are at least 10 variables, at least 10 variables to consider. And how to do things in the right order, in the right month, on the right day of the month, and how much money out of your money are you going to be able to place on your debt at a certain time to maximize your interest savings. Okay, there are a lot of choices to make, a lot of choices to make. And if you have at with all of your debt, there's at least 10 variables to consider. 10 factorial, okay? 10 factorial will give you this. All right, 10 factorial. There we go. There it is. 3,628,800. Let me try to put this in perspective for you. If you have a bookshelf with 10 books on it, and I'm going to give you a job of rearranging this bookshelf so that every single book will be placed in every possible configuration on this bookshelf. Okay? If you worked 30 hours a week and I gave you 3 minutes to do each configuration of putting these books on the bookshelf, okay? 3 minutes to arrange the books and gave you 30 hours a week to do nothing but arrange that bookshelf, it would take you over 100 years to put those books in every conceivable arrangement. That's what 10 factorial is. And we are expected to manage our finances to the point where we can optimize our finances. No, we're given rules of thumb where we can kind of manage our finances. But we put together a program that's going to help you to optimize the use of your program. And computers aren't smart, they're just fast. So if you have over 3 million calculations to make to find the one calculation, the one permutation that's going to be the optimum move for you, do you want to spend 100 years trying to figure it out? Or do you want to spend 2 or 3 seconds and let a computer tell you this is what you should do? Okay. How many of you still use a paper map to drive across country? Are you using your GPS on your phone? Come on. We use computers in practically every aspect of our lives. Do you know there's over 300 computers in your car? The computer in your microwave oven. Yeah, there's a computer in your microwave oven that's more powerful than the computer that took people to the moon in the 70s. Yeah, that's the kind of computing power we have now. We use that computing power to run that vacuum around your house. You know, that robot vacuum? We're not using computing power to manage our finances, and we can. And we can. All right. So, uh, Patrice, do we have some things coming up with Living Manna, with Power of the Lamb? Do we have some programs coming up that we could talk about?
Yes, and we'll give everyone a little break right now and give Don a break. So, first of all, those of you who have on here right now, you received a notification that we were coming up today, and that means that you are part of the Living Manna Online Church text family. If you are saying, well, wait a minute, I didn't get a notification, guess what that means? You're not part of the family. So this is your opportunity to join us. Please text LMOC to numbers 84576 to get your real time text announcements, alerts, and reminders of all the programs we have here at Living Manor Church. And I promise you, you get them earlier in the day, and you'll get them a few minutes before, reminding you what programs are coming up, such as programs like this tonight, Money Answers All Things. And so we are grateful for this broadcast tonight. Also, If you're interested in just meeting our pastor and connecting with our pastor, and you're interested about the church, we have something here that we also call virtual office visits. If you didn't know about it before, guess what you know now? Pastor Myers has virtual office hours, and you can send that information to me to this email, patrice at livingmanna.live, and we will put you on his schedule and he will contact you directly. Please make sure when you're doing so that you let us know what your time zone is and the email, and also the times and days that are good for you, and definitely he will coordinate that schedule with you. So please make sure you take advantage of that. And I know we're a virtual church. You're thinking, how are we connecting with our pastor? Pastor Myers is so intentional about that. So we invite you, please, if you are interested, as well as even becoming a member of Living Manna Church, we would so love to have you. And you could also send me an email here, patrice at livingmanna.live. And so we can just welcome you to the family. If you are a baptized member of another church and you'd like to become a member here, you can say, I want to transfer. If you don't know anything about the church, you want Bible studies to learn more about Living Manna Church, please, you can also send the information and we will connect you with the Bible worker. And also, if you are already a baptized member at another church, you wanted to come in as a profession of faith as well. So the virtual doors are open, and we truly do make this a place of welcome. And so we invite you to please to be part of our family. So those are your announcements right now, and we're going to take it right back to Don Daniel on Money Answers All Things.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so now let's take care of some questions, all right, before we get into this, all right? One question is, do you see that question from, what is that, Baldy Lake? So we're going to put that on the screen. We're going to handle that one first. Can you do this manually without investing in your program? Can you do this manually without investing in your program? Answer is yes. People have been paying off debt forever. Before I was even born, they were paying off debt. You want to mute your system there? Thank you. Before I was even born, people were paying off debt. Okay. Now, here is the thing. We put together a computer program that optimizes your benefits. Okay. So you can save interest all on your own. You can pay off your debt all on your own. But there's so many choices to make. You can't optimize your finances without moving the right amount of money in the right month on the right day of the month. And that takes a lot of, of calculations. And let me give you one example. If you have a certain amount of money and you're trying to figure out how much money to move to to beat the the um, the daily interest that the bank is charging you, so that you can save the most interest per dollar, you have to move the right amount on the right day. So how much money do you have to work with? So out of the money that you have to work with, if you put it into a computer, do you know that a computer is not smart, it's just fast? And this is how a computer would have to do it. They would take your money and then break it down to every single penny that you have. They'll move one penny on every day and figure out how much interest you could save on every day, and then two pennies, then three pennies, then four pennies, then five pennies. And it will come up with the exact amount of money that you need to put on a particular debt in a certain month on the right day to maximize your interest savings. Now, do you need a computer to get out of debt? No, you can get out of debt all on your own. But here's the question: how much interest will it cost you to do that? And the answer is, and I've been asking this question for 18 years, and from people who run the gamut on whatever financial background they come from, and I get the same answer: I don't know. So people have told me, Don, I've gotten out of debt all on my own. And I'll ask them, how much interest did it cost you to get out of debt your way? And how much interest did you save? Again, the answer is, I don't know. And when it comes to our finances, you can know if you want to know. You can know if you want to know. You can know how to save the most in interest if you want to know, if we were to use tools that would give us the answers. But there's so many calculations, I mean millions of calculations that need to be done to do this. It is impossible for a human being to do it. So we can we can save some, we can get out of debt faster, but that's what I'm talking about. So let's take a look at this. If you want to do it on your own, here are your resources. Get a notebook, okay? Get a spreadsheet of some kind, and here's what we're going to do. Here's what you're going to do, and I'll give you an idea. All right? Here's how you do it on your own. I've got something on the screen here. I'm putting on a, a, a mortgage of $400,000. Okay, well, it was 420,000 is the median home price in the United States right now. The interest rate is about 7.5, 7.5. Okay, right now, and it's going down. It was 8, but it's going down. I think it's going to continue to go down for a while, but it's around 7.5 right now, and we're going to calculate that. So your payment is $2,936.70. I'm going to show you how easy it is to save interest. I won't be able to tell you how to optimize interest savings or to save the most per dollar, but I can give you an idea how you can save. All right. The bank here is charging is lending $420,000, and at 7.5%, here's how much interest they want: $637,212. Added to the $420,000 that you borrowed. Now, let me ask you a question. Does this look like 7.5% to you? Does this number look like 7.5% of this number? Absolutely not. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal is 151.717%. 151%. Already we're behind the 8 ball. Already the math that we thought we knew is being thrown out of the window because they're taking 7% and somehow multiplying it by this 420,000, and they're coming up with $637,000 in interest. In other words, to buy this house over 30 years, that house is going to cost $1,057,212. Let me ask you, does anybody here want to pay $1 million for their $420,000 home? Anybody? This is what we're into. And so what we want to do is be in the position, if we borrowing money to buy a house, and I have no problem with borrowing money, I just like paying the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible for me. That's what I do. So what we want to do is, how can we cut this $637,000 in interest that the bank is looking for down as low as we possibly can? That's what we need to focus on, ladies and gentlemen. Not how to pay back our debt fast, but how to pay it back cheap. I'm cheap. I don't want to give all that money to the bank. Okay? And it's so easy to do because it gets hidden. Let me show you how this it breaks down. And the very first payment, $311.70 goes to principal. This is all that pays down your loan. Out of this is your payment. $2,936.70. That's your payment. That's the principal and interest. $2,936.70. And out of that, only $311 pays down your loan. $2,625 interest. does nothing to pay towards your loan. Look at all these small $300 payments. Look at that. Do you see that? All of these $300 payments. All right. All right, sharing matters. Thank you so much. Watch the replay. All right. So here we go. And look at all the interest payments. This is just the first year. Look at the first year. If you add up all the principal payments in the first year and all the interest payments for the first year, this is why I use Brett Whistle for this. Okay. Okay. This is why I do Brett Whistle for this. 311. It adds up all of the cumulative principal for me and the interest. So, can this be done on your manually without my program? The answer is absolutely yes. Let me give you some examples. Okay, so if we make a payment in January, a full payment on the mortgage in January, we can see February's principal payment. This is just giving you an example of how to kill interest. If we prepay the $313.65, I'm just picking this out of the air. This is not how my program works, but I'm just giving you some answering the question. $313.65 goes to principal. All right, that would be in month 2. So if you pay this in January, February's principal payment would be $313.65. And here's my question: do we have to wait till February to give the bank that money? Do we have to wait till February to give the bank $313.65? The answer is no. If you had it, you could give it to the bank in January as well, if you had it. So let's give that to the bank in January as well. All $313.65 will go to principal, subtracted from what we owe. We're paid down to line 2, where we owe $419,374.65 in January, and not the principal balance on line 1. We're down to the principal balance on line 2, which means our very next payment for February, we do have a payment for February. Our very next payment for February is on line 3 of the schedule, where $315.61 goes to principal, $2621.09 goes to interest. And what happened to the interest payment of $2623.05 on line 2? That was eliminated. That was canceled. This interest payment is no more. You never have to pay that. Okay? Now, what if we did this? Made our regular mortgage payment, and then took a look at the next 3 principal payments: $313.65, $315.61, $317.58. Okay? You don't need a computer for that. You can just look at this amortization schedule, give the bank this and this and this on top of your regular payment. Guess what happens? You just eliminated the interest on this line, on this line, and this line. All right? $2,600 times 3, all right? And your next mortgage payment for February is now on line 5. That is how you kill interest on these loans. Okay? But here's the thing: if you have a certain amount of money to work with, how much? Because if we put a certain amount of money here, do you realize we can figure out how much interest we're saving per dollar? Let me give you a quick example of that. In 1 year, we're going to pay down this loan by $3,871.70. But it's going to cost how much in interest, ladies and gentlemen, in 1 year? $31,368.70. Do you realize how many people have mortgages just like this, and they have no idea when they're making their payments in 1 year, they've only put $3,800 on their mortgage while giving the bank $31,000 in interest, and they don't even realize that they've done it? That's just 1 year. In 2 years, we pay this loan down by $8,000 and giving the bank $62,000 in interest. And this is in 3 years, $12,000 and $93,000. So if we're going to invest in something, right now we're investing in the banks to make them very rich. That's what we're investing in right now. Most of us are doing exactly this, giving the bank exactly what they're asking for. When we could cut the interest cost by 75% and know exactly how much money we're saving in interest and not guess. So, what if we knew that we could save a certain amount of money in interest per dollar? I'll give you a quick calculation on that. So, I'm going to put my calculator on the screen. Okay, we're going to move that over to here, and I'm just going to do one quick calculation. If I prepay 3871.70, I knock out 1 year on this mortgage and I save a whole ton of interest. Okay, so we're going to take out 31,000, our interest savings here, 31,600. I'm sorry, 31,000. Let me back that up. All right, we got to delete that. $31,368.70. Divided by, if we were to prepay the $3,800 here, 3871.70, so we could divide that by 3871.70, okay, equals $8.10. So I know now that if I prepay this, I can save $8.10 for every dollar I put on the debt. There's a point at which, if I keep putting more money on, I will start saving less than $8.10 per dollar. Let's do line 24 and see what happens. So if I prepay this, I knock off 2 years. I knock off 1 year. At the beginning of this loan, if I give the bank an extra $8,000 or prepay $8,000, look at all this interest I save and I knock off 2 years. Let's see what happens. Now remember, on that first calculation, I'm saving $8.10 for every dollar. Can I explain that a different way? For every dollar I put on extra at this point, for every dollar, I make it impossible for the bank to charge me $8.10 in interest. Oh, how about that? Okay. I don't need a computer for that. I can do that on a dime store calculator. Okay. But watch this. So we're going to do line 24. Line 24, I've got $62,436.83 divided by $8,000. Now, some of us are fortunate enough to have this kind of money in the bank. By prepaying this, we can knock off 24 months and kill a lot of interest. Woo! So we're going to divide this by $8,043, $8,043.97 equals $7.76. The first one, I was saving $8.10. Here, I'm saving $7.76 per dollar. So the more we put on at the wrong time, we're not going to maximize each dollar to save the most in interest that we possibly can. And every dime you don't save, the bank will get from you. So, how much money is too much money to lose? By not optimizing your ability to save as much interest as you possibly can, so that the more interest you save, the faster you get out of debt. And you don't put the wrong amount of money on the wrong debt at the wrong time. That's what we're talking about right now. Okay. Now, if you want to do this on your own, here's what you would do. Get some kind of way to track your spending. Okay. Track your spending, whether it's on a spreadsheet or a notebook or whatever it is you got to do. How much money am I making and how much money am I spending? When you know how much money is left over, put that money in your bank account, in your savings account. Let's build, you'll be surprised at how quickly you can build that money up over 2 to 5 months. And then when that hits a certain amount in your bank account where you feel good about it, take a lump sum out of the bank account and apply it to the principal on one of your loans. Now, the average family has 13 different loans. Now, remember what I told you, that if we have at least 10 variables, there's over 3 million different ways to look at and come to a decision on how much money, which loan, which month, which day of the month, and how much money am I going to use out of my bank account to put on that debt to maximize my interest savings, to get the most I can per dollar. That's a lot of math. But if you just want to guess at it, take any old amount out and put it on the debt. You will save a lot of interest and a lot of time manually. So the answer to the question is, it works. Will this work for credit cards or personal loans? Anything that carries interest, you better believe it. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, it works for all of it. I hope that answers your question. All right. Any other questions? Did I miss any other questions? Somebody says that's how Tyra Payne says that's how I paid off my car in 1 year. Excellent. Let me see. Is there anything else? I can't. I'm not seeing. Did I miss any questions, Patrice? I think that's it. So if I missed your question, please retype it. Patrice will make sure that I see it. Okay. Here's one. I would like to know if any of your future shows will include information about life insurance. Here we go. You know, this series is only 8. This series is only 8 presentations. And
Um, um,
tonight
um,
is number 7. Don't start, Patrice.
um,
Don't start, Patrice. This is
um,
number 7, and the next one will be number 8, and I'll be all done. Patrice, what did you want to say?
I want to thank Ms. Lovely Kathy for bringing that question up. And Don will sure answer it in a future program. We can't say when that will be, but we will definitely let you know. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Ms. Lovely.
Okay, Miss Love, I think that's called being voluntold. You know, listen, I absolutely love what I do. And if I'm invited back, I'll come back if the Lord allows. Okay, there you go. Okay, but we're supposed to do 8 presentations. This is number 7, and next week will be number 8. But if I get an invitation, we most certainly will work it into the schedule. Okay. Now, I think I've set up. Do we have any other questions? And Patrice, I knew you were going to do that by putting that up there. I started laughing as soon as I started reading
God bless you, Miss Kathy.
it. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's take a look at. I'm going to put up opportunity cost calculator now. All right. And this is what we use to manage our finances. Okay. So this is for John and Rebecca Jones. I might have waited too long. I might have to. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right. So we're going to take a look at their budget. Okay. John makes $950 per week. Patrice, are we seeing these numbers okay online? Can we see these numbers okay for you guys who are viewing this, or do I need to make this bigger? Let me know. Okay. Put it in the chat. $950 per biweekly. Rebecca gets paid $700 weekly, and they average over 12 months, they average income is $5,091.66. Their monthly bills come to a total of an average of $3,759.51. I say average because the electric bill isn't the same thing every month, and the amount of money you spend on gasoline, on food, there are some expenses that you have that are variable. These are average expenses for them. So the average amount that's left over is $1,332.15. Okay? That's what they're working with. Here is the debt that they have. Now, I've chosen a situation here where it's not a lot of debt, but the average family has 13 different debts. But here's what John and Rebecca Jones have. In their checking account, they have $500. In their savings account, they have $5,138.89. They have a car loan of $25,000 at 4%, and their minimum payment is $460 right here. All right. And okay, I guess everybody can see. Nobody's saying they can't see. The Visa has $2,000 on it, and it's at 21%. Their minimum payment is $50 a month, and their mortgage is $200,000 at 6%. That's what we're working with. That's a total of 200. That's a total of $227,000. It's right here. Now, if we look in the upper right-hand corner, by putting it in here, we already know that John and Rebecca Jones are going to save at least $179,752 in interest. They will save more, but we know that this is worst case scenario. $179,752 in interest that the bank wants, the bank is not going to get. Because of that, John and Rebecca Jones will be able to live well, do everything that they wanted to do, and still get out of debt in 7.7 years because they're saving $179,052 in interest by optimizing their interest savings, knowing exactly what to do and when. Now, let's go into the action plan. Now, remember, this is all based on tracking your income, which you can do, tracking your expenses, which you can do on your own, putting the monies that you're not spending, put it in the bank, which you can do, build it up to a certain amount, and then take monies out of the savings account and attack the debt. When you do it that way, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice because tithing and offering is done. You're going to put money away for long-term savings. You're going to pay your bills. You're going to at least pay the minimum payment on the debt. You're going to have fun with your family. That's going to be part of your budget. And you're going to pay the rest of the bills: food, electricity, cable, cell phones. All the rest of the bills get paid. And then, because you've taken care of everything, you're going to take the money that's left over. Instead of continuing to spend, you're going to take the money that's left over and put it in the savings account. And you attack the debt from the savings account, not stealing money from your family's ability to have a little fun in life. Does that make sense, everybody? Let's not take it out of the regular budget. Let's take it out of the discretionary that's left over that we're sitting in the bank so that we can attack the debt. All right? That's how it's done. And you can definitely do that on your own. Okay? So now, here's how we're doing it with the system that is especially built to beat the banks at their own game, and you choose the timing to pay the bank back their money in a way that makes it impossible for them to charge you interest. Did you just hear what I said? When you choose the timing, you make it impossible for them to charge you interest. And then you can get out of debt cheaper and faster. Here's what happened. So John gets paid $950 here. And he tells the program, I just got paid $950. and he clicks execute, and he tells the program, yeah, you know what, I did that. And that's done. Okay. And then that disappears from his screens because he's paid. He's told the program, I've received my paycheck in my bank account. Now they pay their mortgage of $1,199.10. They'll execute that. That will disappear, and that gets subtracted from their virtual bank account in the program, so that the program knows how much money they have at their actual bank, because they're going to subtract that. Now, if you go back to the bank accounts, you will see in the history that John and Rebecca Jones started out with $500. They deposited $950 in their virtual bank account because they told the program that's what they did. And this $1,450 matches exactly what they have at their bank. Okay? So now that we know that, here is what we're doing next. We're going to pay our utilities. Rebecca is going to get a paycheck, and we're going to click on all of those. But then, do you see these little arrows here? This is the program telling you, take money from your checking account and put it in your savings account, $100.90. This $100.90 is money they don't need for anything else. We're going to put that in savings and save it up. We're going to pay our phone bill. We're going to, Rebecca's going to get another paycheck. We're going to put some more money in savings. John is going to get a paycheck. We're going to pay for our food and dining. We're going to, pay minimum on the Visa, just the minimum on the car loan, and minimum on the mortgage this month. No extra money is going to the debt, even though we put extra money in savings, and we're going to pay the rest of the bills out of this $1,300. But their fund money is in here too. Okay, that's in the unitemized budget. So they're going to pay some other bills, and then their fund money is in here. And they can spend an extra $1,300 a month on top of everything else and still get out of debt in 7.7 years, because they're saving $179,000 in interest. Okay, so well, if we're putting minimums on the debt, now when are we going to take some of that money out and put it on and pay something off? Okay, well, we can actually change this window up here, and I've got it on next debt transfer, and we're starting this out in October, and the program says, well, by 11/16, we should have $2,569 saved up in our savings account to attack the debt with. So let's see what happens. So we're going to scroll down, keep putting money away, pay all the rest of our bills, and now October is gone. Now we're into November. We're going to pay the mortgage. We're going to get some paychecks. We're going to pay utilities again. We're going to put money in savings again until we see these little blue and green arrows. And now we're going to get different instructions where the program says, take that money out of savings. And this is what's great. Not take it out of your budget. Because here's how most people would do this. They're going to try to predetermine how much they're going to take out of their budget each month to put on the debt. $500, $200, $100, $1,000, whatever it is. You can do that as long as life doesn't get in the way. You can do that as long as life doesn't get in the way, because you're doing it out of your budget. But if you do it out of your savings, take care of everything in your budget, even when life gets in the way, then the amount, that money at the end of the month that you're used to putting into the bank account, you'll put less in, or maybe nothing in. When your account in your bank account gets to a certain point, then you take the money out. Well, what if this month I don't put any money in the savings account? Well, it just takes me a little bit longer to save it up. You see what I mean? You don't feel like a failure when you intended to put $1,000 on the debt and you had to replace the hot water heater this month and 2 flat tires that got ruined and you had to buy new ones. And so now you can't put that $1,000 on that you wanted to because you had these extra expenses. That's why so many people fall off that program. But if they put the money away in savings and it gets to a certain point, what if it takes them an extra month or two to get there? They don't feel like a failure. They get to that money and they'll put it on the debt. It's as simple as that. Okay? So John and Rebecca Jones, see, the program is saying, we're here now, take money out of savings, put it on the Visa, and pay this Visa off to zero with $2,020.95 sitting in the savings account. How about that? Not pay a little bit extra and pay it off over a year. Put that money in savings and kill that thing in 1 or 2 months with money out of savings, and boom, it's blasted. It's done. Okay? Now, let's see what happens when we do that. The program can calculate. Let me make this a little bit bigger. How much interest we're actually saving when we do that. $1,845 in interest. We never have to pay Visa because we paid that off. Okay? So now, what's going to happen with the rest of that money? The program says, you take your mortgage is paid on the first. The program says, wait. Keep putting money away and wait 15 days after the mortgage is paid and put an additional $548 and a nickel on mortgage principal. No more, no less. It stops at 5 cents. Why? Because this is the optimum amount and the optimum day. Putting any more money on, we lose the ability to save more in interest. Watch this, per dollar. So if I do this, put $548.05, I still have money in my bank because this is the optimum amount. They still have about $5,000 in the bank right now. We're putting $548 and a nickel on this debt. We're going to save $2,705. But what if I didn't know about the law of diminishing returns? Meaning putting more on at the wrong time, so I'll get less of a result. What is my real result? Do I want to just pay the loan off fast, or do I want to pay the loan off cheap? Let me ask you this. If all of your debt was 0% interest, is there any financial benefit to paying the loan off early? If all of your loans were 0% interest, is there any financial benefit to paying the loans off early? Nope, not at all. The reason why we pay off loans this way is to save the interest money that's killing us. The interest money is keeping us in debt forever, not the debt itself. It's the interest money. Okay? So if we pay less interest, we get out of debt faster. More of our money goes to where we want it to go. So this $548.05 is going to where we want it to go to principal. None goes to interest. And here's how we should look at it. If we did what the bank wants us to, pay this loan down naturally by $548.05, we would also have to give the bank $2,705 in interest. But because we chose the timing to give the bank this money when they weren't expecting it, we don't have to give them the $2,705. How about that? I love it when I can give money to the bank. It makes it impossible for them to charge me interest. Do you guys like that? I mean, really, do you like looking at it that way? Where you can make it impossible for the bank to charge you interest. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I know I love it. Okay. But what if I didn't know about the law of diminishing return? I got about $5,000 in the bank. I could easily tell the program, let's do $1,500 All right, let's do $1,500 on the debt, not $548.05. Let's do $1,548.05. Let's not wait until the 16th because the money's already in the bank. Let's pay it on the 1st. Okay, we're going to send it in with the mortgage. So we're going to pay more and we're going to pay it sooner. Remember, our interest savings was going to be $2,705. I need you to watch right here where the actual interest is actually calculated. How much actual interest is saved is calculated here. So we're going to tell the program we want to do more and we want to do it sooner. 1548.05 is what we paid. 05. And now we can see now, ooh, look at that. $7,525 in interest I don't have to pay. $7,525 in interest I don't have to pay. Okay? So let's figure out how much. If I had to pay 1548.05 to get this, if I do a little division, I can figure out how much interest I'm saving. So let's put that on the screen. So I'm going to put that on the screen. $7,525 in interest savings. And what did I pay? I paid the bank extra divided by 1548.05 equals $4.86. So that's $4.86 for every dollar. For every dollar I place on here, that's $4.86 that the bank can't charge me in interest for every dollar I put on at this point. Isn't that pretty good news? That's good news. $4.86. Listen, has anybody ever broken it down to you like this before? That $1 is worth $4.86 in interest you don't have to give the bank. Listen, if you gave me $1 and I gave you back $4.86, how many times would you guys give me $1? Oh man, I just love that question. Okay, so let's go back to the original loan. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to reset everything. And we're going to go back to the original loan. Now remember, by doing what the program says, okay, we're not saving as much interest, but putting more on, I can save $4.86 for every dollar. Okay, so if I go down here, go back to where it was, and I'm going to take the $548 and save $2,700. So we're going to put that on the screen instead of $4.86. Let's see what we save here. Okay, per dollar. So clear that out. Put in 27.05. All right, and divide it by 548.05 equals $4.93 per dollar. $4.93 per dollar, not $4.86 per dollar. Why is that important? Because there's a point at which when you're trying to get out of debt, there's a point at which more is too much to pay. You want to put the right amount of money towards debt reduction so that you can put the right amount of money into wealth creation by putting it into your annuities or putting it into your insurance policies or putting it into whatever investments that you're putting it into. You don't want all your eggs in one basket. You want to be able to eliminate interest, and you also want to make interest, but you don't want to put too much money on either side. You want to put the right amount of money over here and the right amount of money over there. It's called critical point analysis. It doesn't make sense for John and Rebecca Jones, with the amount of money that they have, to put any more on the debt right here than $548 and a nickel. Putting any more money on, it takes away from the ability to invest more money where it's going to make them more money. So that's called opportunity cost. Look it up. Opportunity cost loss. If you spend money one way, that means you can't also use money a different way. And now you have to do the calculations on whether you're winning or losing by not doing something else. It's called opportunity cost. That's why we call our program the Opportunity Cost Calculator. Folks, I've been here about an hour and a half. Do I have any other questions? Because I just wanted to show you how important it is to have a system whereby you can optimize the use of your funds. I want to get the most out of my money. I want to pay the least for getting the most. How about you? I know one thing. If you're using Gas Buddy and you're looking at 3 gas stations on the way home, you're going to choose the one that that saves you the most money, even if it's a penny. Okay? So if we can save several $1,000s, if we can save it. So let me give you an example. All right, and I'll give you a quick example. Two families have the same debt structure. They make the same amount. House is exactly the same. Income is exactly the same. Family type is exactly the same. One is using an opportunity cost calculator, a computer that is designed to save them money. The other one is using the debt snowball. The one who's using the debt snowball will get out of debt faster than if they did nothing. But they will pay an average of $50,000 to $70,000 more in interest than the family that uses the computer. Will they both be out of debt faster? Yes, they will. Will one pay more in interest than the other? Yes, they will, because they're not paying attention to interest cost. All they're looking at is the good feelings that come from paying off these smaller debts and then rolling that money into the next debt, rolling that money into the next debt, and they feel good about it. But I ask a question in my book: how much do you want to pay for your good feelings? The debt snowball, neither the avalanche methods track your interest consumption. And we're consuming far too much interest. We want to save that interest and invest it where we want to invest it. Does that make sense, people? Does that make sense, everybody? Do we have any more questions? What programs do we have coming up, Patrice? Power of the Lamb and Living Manna. What programs do we have coming up?
Okay, so what we have coming up this weekend is obviously our Sabbath services will be taking place here at Living Manor Church, and we want to make sure that you all know about that, as well as our programs on Monday, Mental Health Mondays with Tante Myers and Dr. Carter White, True Health Tuesdays, Dr. Kanisha Reynolds and Dr. Roger Swelt, as well as Power Wednesdays are taking place on Wednesdays with our infamous, our wonderful prayer warriors. When I tell you they get a prayer through, so please, if you even have a prayer right now, if you want to even send your prayers, and you can do that too at prayer@livingmanna.live. And I'm going to put that up here because I tell you, they really do go hard for our members and non-members. And so even tonight, if you are in need of prayer, or you know someone that could use prayer, please, you can email your prayer request to prayer@livingmanna.live, and you will get a response immediately. They actually have people praying all day long, so they don't miss a prayer. So please make sure you take advantage of that power source, because it is definitely alive, well, active, and the praise reports that come in are just tremendous. So please take advantage of that as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So keep this in mind. You can't optimize what you can't measure. So measuring is very important in everything that you do with your finances. How much are you making? How much are you spending? How much interest can you cancel? How quickly can you pay off your debt by not giving all that extra money to the bank that you don't have to? So keep that in mind. Do I have any questions or any comments about what you've learned tonight? Or do you have any other financial questions? Because I'll take a few questions before we say good evening. Because um, I don't have any more to talk about as far as um, what you need to do to make sure that you're managing your finances well. It starts with a good budget. Know how much you're making and know how much you're spending and how much money you can put away to attack the debt with. So very important. Any questions? Any comments about what you've learned tonight?
I see from Saucy Cooper, I see love it. This is amazing. Tyra Payne saying thanks. And of course, we saw Gary Harris says, I like saving money. How about that, Gary? We like saving money too. And so we appreciate that. We also don't have any comments in there, but I will say that if you'd like to be able to send Don questions and we can answer them in the next, he can answer in the next program, please be sure to email me at patrice@livingmanner.live. I'm going to put that in the caption so you'll be able to see that. I'm going to put that here right now. And as a reminder, too, if you would like to be up on the programs that we're having here at Living Manor Church, please be sure to be a part of our text family. And so I'll put that on the screen as well. But see you right there. If you want to have any questions for Don based on this program, hey, go back and watch it too. Please email those questions. I will definitely make sure Don gets them and he will answer them live here at our next program. I'm not saying final program, I said next program.
Patrice, you are something else. All right, folks. Listen, we're about to wrap it up, but we will be back. We will be back next week. Patrice won't be with us, but I'm sure somebody you know and love will be here working with us uh, and giving you this valuable information out next week. But I guess that's it. We don't have any more questions. No more
And no,
comments.
I've read some comments here. Here we are. And I want to make sure we put all your contact information in the chat as well for people to get.
All right. Let's see. I have a friend who is swimming in debt and can't seem to get out from underneath it. Where can he find this program? Okay. So here's what you can do, folks. Let's put the ICE 10K back on the um, in the chat again. ICE10K.com. That's my digital card. Share that information with them. On our YouTube channel, we have over 2 years worth of content on there. Okay, over 280 different programs. I'm doing another one tomorrow morning. All right, I'm doing another one tomorrow morning. What is the name of that one? Let me look that up right quick so I can tell you the name of the program for tomorrow morning. All right, tomorrow morning's program is mortgage mastery. Avoid 15-year terms and big down payments. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Yeah, never get a 15-year mortgage and never make a large down payment on a loan if you can help it. Okay? So if we've got our phone number, we've got our my digital business card, ice10k.com, and I have a book out. We're going to put the link up for the book as well in the chat. Okay? The link for the book is going to go in the chat as well. And you can also find a link to my book, The Pill Method, A Better Way to Eliminate Debt, on there as well. So that's it. I guess that's everything you need to be able to contact us if you would like to. Okay? Contact us if you would like to. Oh, by the way, if you'd like to get a free savings report, know the month, day, and year you can be debt free. Let me go ahead and put Let me put that on the screen, okay, where we had our check register and everything. Okay, there you go. We're going to put that on the screen. Ah, there it is. Okay, this is, and the first face you're going to see is Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher, who used our program so he could eliminate his debt in record time. Also, you can see the link for the book, but scroll down under Dr. Eric Thomas and you'll click on this button that says Get a Savings and Earnings Report. And this is free. This is a free report. By filling this out, you can know the month, day, and year you can be debt free. Okay? And then you can talk with us about if you want us to help you to implement the program, or you can use the information from all of our other videos to do this manually. Okay, there you go. Patrice, that's it for tonight. Anything else before we go? Because I can't see, because my chat stopped working a while ago, so I don't know. I can't see anything new. So if there's
All right,
if
let's
there's
see. We
okay,
have, oh, here we go. Just we'll take this one last one
okay,
from Serenity 2020.
yes. Says, can you remind some of us that even if we can't plop down 500, a little still makes a big difference? Okay, I call that a power of the penny. Okay, let me, all right, let me show you. Let me bring that up for you. Hold on. Okay, I've got I've got a PowerPoint for that. So it's going to take me just a second to find it, and I'll put it up for you. Okay, just a second. Where's my PowerPoint for that? Power of the penny. Okay. And I will, there it is. And as soon as I get that loaded in here, we can go over that. All right. A little bit goes a long way. So in a prior situation, we could on a $200,000 mortgage is 6%. If we can prepay $200, that saves us about $1,000 in interest. And for some reason, my PowerPoint is not working. Man. So I guess we're going to have to do it manually. Okay. Oh, there it is. All right. Got it. Finally. All right. So let me pull this over here so I can work. We're going to open this up. There we go. Open. And we're going to scroll down to Power of the Penny so you guys can see this. There it is. All right, so let's put that on the screen. All right, Patrice, can you see that okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, good. All right, so here's what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. This is if you prepay $200 on the mortgage and here's the mortgage. It's a $200,000 mortgage at 6%. The payment is $1199.10. So if you prepay $200 on this mortgage, it saves you about $1,000 in interest. Okay, but I may not have $200, so let's put that back. All right, let me go back. Sorry about that. Here we go. And there it is. Okay, so I don't have $200, so maybe I have $100. If I put $100 on, it saves me $500 in interest. Look at that, $500 in interest because it's half of the 200. What if I don't have the $100, but I have $50? $50 saves me $250 in interest. $25 prepaid on this mortgage saves me $125 in interest. Isn't that helpful? $12.50, $12.50 prepaid saves $75 in interest. 625, 37.50, $3.13 saves $18.75. So if you gave me $3.13 and I gave you back $18.75, would you like that? Here's the thing. The bank has to do the same thing. On this particular mortgage, on this particular day, you give them that $3.13. It makes it impossible for the bank to charge you $18.75. So let's not stop there. Let's keep going. We're going to cut that $3 in half, get to $1.56, then 78, then 39, then 20 cents, then 10 cents, then 5 cents, then 2 cents, then even a penny would save you 7 cents in interest. That's why I pick up pennies in the parking lot. I hope this helps. You don't need a lot of money to save interest. You just need to be consistent and manage your income and your expenses, track what you're spending so you can consistently put some money in savings in order to attack the debt. Okay? I think that does it for this evening. Um, Patrice, and
That's it.
yeah, that's it for tonight. So anyway, listen, folks, thank you so very much for being here. Why don't we just end things with prayer, and then I will see you again next week. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for everyone who participated. Thank you for everyone who asked a question. I pray, Lord, that they received the answer that they needed. I trust that someone here was blessed by the information that was given. Father, help us all to implement a program where we can be good stewards of the resources you place in all of our hands, is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everybody.
Good, everybody.
See you next week.